Good morning, children. This is Stalin Ramachandran, your social science teacher. In this chapter, we are going to see about the human rights. We all have a rights, and in this chapter, we are going to study about that. What are the human rights? What are called as child rights? What are called as the labor rights? And what are the rights as a human we have? So we are going to go with the introduction. The lesson travels through the history of organization for human rights. So we all have a right to speak. We all have a right to express a thought. We all have rights to, express our views, and that has been given by the Indian Constitution. Constitution has given that right for every individual humans to say and to express their views. And we are going to study about that in this chapter. The rights ensured by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights being highlighted. Fundamental rights are enshrined in the Indian Constitution, and fundamental duties incorporated in the Constitution, along with the introduction to National and State Human Rights Commission, and their functions are explained. So as I said before, Indian Constitution has given a fundamental rights for every individual in India. That only we are going to see elaborately. And we also have a Human Rights Commission which protects humans if anything goes wrong, like racism or whatever the issue which goes against the human, which is where the humans are not treated as a human. We always have a right to file a complaint in the Human Rights Commission. So these rights have been given to all the citizens of India with the help of Constitution. Extending the rights like child rights, SC/ST rights, women rights, labor rights, etc. are also discussed. In this chapter, we are going to discuss about child rights, SC/ST right, women right, labor rights, and so on. And there was an incident which happened to Mahatma Gandhi, which made him to change his attitude. And he started, being. This particular incident made him to change drastically in his life. On 7th July 1893, while a person was on his way to Pretoria in South Africa, a white man objected the presence of a non-white man in a first-class carriage, and the person was ordered to move to a van compartment at the end of the train. And that incident happened for Mahatma Gandhi. The man who had the first class ticket refused to leave and was thrown off the train at Pietermaritzburg. So this was an incident which happened to Mahatma Gandhi because he was a black, and where the white people showed a racism to Mahatma Gandhi, and that made to change and to protest against racism for Mahatma Gandhi. Shivering in the winter night in the waiting room of the station changed the course of his life. This incident changed Mahatma Gandhi's life. He took up the fight against racial oppression, which means racism. This incident says about racism. So this made, Mahatma Gandhi to fight against racial oppression. The spirit for active non-violence started from that moment. Mahatma Gandhi made the momentous decisions to stay on the South Africa and fight racial discrimination against the Indians. So those days it was like that, when those who are going to abroad, those who go for higher studies, they have been treated badly because of their color. The British people, they'll be in a white color, and our people will be, little dark. And there was a racism, and Mahatma Gandhi opposed that. Out of that struggle emerged his unique way of protest, non-violent satyagraha. Okay, we'll switch into our next topic. What are human rights? How can you define a human rights? The UNO defines human rights as the right inherent to all human beings regardless of race, gender, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Everyone is entitled to these rights without discrimination. UNO says about we don't have any difference on nationality, we don't have any difference on gender, race, and also language and religion. So, which it says about everybody are equal. Human Rights Day is celebrated every year on 10th December. The history of human rights has roots in all the great events of the world, and it has sustained the struggle for freedom and equality everywhere. So we are all humans. We all are humans. We don't have any difference of opinion. We have, since even though we have difference of opinion, still we are all together. We don't have any discrimination. We don't have any discrimination in the name of religion, the name of caste. Why? Because we are all humans. And that's what this lesson says about human rights. We all have a rights to express our ideas. We all have a rights to express our views. That right has been given by Constitution of India. The United Nations Organization UNO was formed on 24th October 1945 after the Second World War. It proposed to deal with the consequences of war and to prevent such happenings in the future. The next one, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We call UDHR. What does it say about? The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a milestone document in the history of human rights. It was drafted by representatives with different legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions of the world. The declaration was proclaimed by United Nations General Assembly in Paris on 10th December 1948 as a common standard of achievement of all people and all nations. It was a big achievement. UDHR is one of the important, milestone document which is brought in order to protect the human rights, social, economic, and cultural rights. So we all have a social, economic, cultural rights. Social, economic, and cultural rights are integral part of the human rights law that was developed due to the aftermath of World War II. This concept, social, economic, and cultural rights, was developed after World War II. Social rights are necessary for full participation in society. Economic rights guarantees every person to have a condition under which they are unable to meet their needs. They are a part of range of legal principles through which economic equality and freedom are preserved in a state. So this economic, social, and cultural rights says about economically, socially, everybody are equal. Even though our culture is different, we are equal. We are all equal. Even though our language is different, we are all equal. Cultural rights are human rights that aims at ensuring the enjoyment of culture and its components in conditions of equality, human dignity, and non-discrimination. Next, we are going to see about our civil and political rights. Civil and political rights protest an individual freedom for infringement by the government, social organizations, and private individuals. These rights ensures one's ability to participate in the civil and political life of society and state. The term civil rights refers to the basic rights of which is ordered by the law of a government to every person regardless of a race, nationality, color, gender, age, religion, etc. Civil and political rights says about everybody can participate in politics. Everybody have rights. We don't have any discrimination in the name of nationality. We don't have any discrimination in the name of color, gender, age, and religion. What are the fundamental rights in India? We need to know. What are the fundamental rights in India? First one, rights to equality. Everybody are equal. Rights to freedom. Everyone have a freedom to express the views. Right against exploitation. So if you found that you are exploited, every individual have absolute right to fight against the exploitation. Right to freedom of conscience and religion. Every individual has a freedom of conscience and religion. Cultural and educational rights for minorities. For minorities, they have rights for education. Right to constitutional remedies. So these are the important fundamental rights in India. Rights to equality. What are the rights to equality? What does it mean? It refers to the equality before law and equal protection of law. Right to equality says about where in front of law all are equal. It may be a man or it may be a woman, it may be a rich or poor. All are equal. They don't have any difference in religion, caste, race and gender. That is what this right to equality says about. Right to freedom. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points we have. Rights to freedom. Freedom to speech and expression. Every individual, as I said before, every individual has a right to speak. They can say, they can express their views. Freedom to assemble peacefully without arms. Freedom to form association and union. Anybody can form association, anybody can form a union. That right has been given by this Indian Constitution, and that comes under right to freedom. Freedom to reside and settle in any part of India. You can stay anywhere in India. You might born in Chennai. If you want to get settled in Mumbai, you're always welcome to go to Mumbai and you can stay there. So no difference. You have a freedom to stay anywhere, to get settled anywhere in India. Freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. Inside India, you can move anywhere. No one can able to stop you. If anyone stops you in the name of, in the name of caste, in the name of religion, you always have rights that you can fight against them. Freedom to practice any profession and carry on any occupation, trade or business. So you can do any type of business which is a legal business. Inside India, you can practice or you can be a profession or you can do any occupation inside India. That is what the right to freedom says about. Right against exploitation. So child labor. The children, those who are less than 14 years are considered as a child labor. Rights against exploitation says about that most of the organization, most of the manufacturing units are exploiting children. Many contractors are exploiting children by giving low wages. So right against exploitation. If you found that, you always have a right to fight for the right. And you can ask question. Right to freedom of conscience and religion. The right gives a citizen freedom to follow, practice a religion of their choice. So this point says about, if you're born as a Hindu, if you want to practice Islam, you can do it. If you're born as a Christian, if you want to practice, if you want to follow Hinduism, you can do it. If you're born as a Islam, if you want to practice any other, religion, you always have a rights to do it. All citizens have the freedom of conscience of ideas. The citizens all have the freedom to follow their own way for practicing any religion. Cultural and educational rights. The Constitution gives us the right to preserve, protect and promote culture. So you can follow this cultural and educational rights says about, we have the rights to open schools, association and society to preserve and promote our tradition and culture. If you want to promote your culture, if you want to promote your tradition, you can start any school or association in order to develop that particular tradition or that particular culture. Similarly, a group of people may open a school for imparting religious education to children. That can also be done in India. You have absolute rights. So we are going to see about the human rights and fundamental rights difference. So what is the difference between human rights and fundamental rights? Human rights, the rights that a human being deserves to survive with respect and freedom is called as human rights. What is called fundamental rights? The elemental rights of the citizen of a country which are listed in the constitution and enforceable under the law is known as fundamental rights. Human rights includes those rights which are basic to real life and are absolute, that is, it cannot be taken away. Fundamental rights includes only those rights which are basic to a normal life. The last point, human rights are recognized as international level. Fundamental rights are guaranteed under Constitution of the country. Next, we are going to see about the fundamental duties and responsibilities of citizen. Being a citizen of this country, being a citizen of India, what is the fundamental duties and responsibilities we have? We have to respect our constitution and its ideas and institution, the national flag and national anthem. Being a citizen of India, we have to respect our national flag, our national anthem, and we have to respect our Indian constitution. And we have to follow or cherish the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. People, those who have, worked really hard for freedom, we have to respect them and we have to get inspired out of them. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called up to do so. So defend the country and render national service, we are supposed to be ready to do that. To promote harmony and spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional and sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. We have to respect each other. We have to respect every individual. We have to respect all the religious people. We have to respect women. So these are the duties which we need to follow as citizens of India. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. So we should feel proud of our culture and we should give respect to other culture. To protect and to improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and have compassion on living creatures. So we have to love all the birds and we have to, we should have a compassion towards living creatures and we should protect forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife. To develop scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure from violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievements, to provide opportunities for education by the parent and guardian to the children or ward up to the age of 14 years. Next, we are going to switch into child rights. What are the child rights? Every child has right to life, right to family environment, right to education, right to benefit from social security, rights against sexual exploitation, rights against sale or trafficking, rights against other forms of exploitation like child labor. So what are the other women rights we have? In India, ancestral property rights were given to the women through Hindu Succession Act 1989. There was amendment was passed in 1989 which says about where every woman has rights in the property. Women rights under Constitution of India mainly includes equality, dignity and freedom from discrimination Additionally, India has various statutes governing the rights of women. And in 1924, at Vaikam, Periyar E.V. Ramasamy agitated for temple entry for Dalits. So in 1925, he started a self-respect movement. Suyamariyada Iyakam has been started by Periyar in order to improve the rights of women. Women laborers welfare and Ambedkar. So what was important welfare which has been brought by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, we are going to see. Ambedkar framed many laws for women workers in India, such as Mines maternity benefit. Now many women are getting a maternity benefits. That maternity benefits have been initially framed, and it has been brought to an effect by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Women Labour Welfare Fund was started by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Women and Child Labour Protection Act was brought by Ambedkar. Maternity benefit for women labor and restoration of ban of employment of women on underground work in coal mines have been brought by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. These are the important policies, or these are policies which has been brought by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar for the benefits of women. Next one is Rights to Information Act. We have this act which has been enhanced, which has been initially started in the year 2005. The Right to Information Act is a revolutionary act that aims to promote transparency in the government institution in India. If you want to know any information about any government officials, you always have a right to claim through Rights to Information Act. This act was enacted in October 2005. A common man can demand any government organization to provide information. This is a very important act which has been brought into 2005, and it's really useful for the people of a common man of India. Next one we are going to see about labor rights. A constitution ensures rights to equality of opportunity in public employment, right to form association and union, rights to livelihood, prohibits trafficking, forced labor and child labor. Article 39D ensures equal wages to male and female workers for equal work. This labor right says about where it may be a woman or a man, both of them have rights to get equal pay. They have rights to form association. That's what this labor right says about. Civilized nation of a world insists on equality. So basically this labor right says about equality, no gender difference. Even John F. Kennedy has given his quote, the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. So John F. Kennedy is one of the former president of USA, is given his own quotes. So what were the contribution of Dr. Ambedkar for labor rights? So see, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar contributes to laborers. Reduction in factory working hours to 8 hours. Before it was like 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours people are working. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has brought a new act, and he has passed a policy has been brought saying that every labor has rights to work only for 8 hours. If any employer makes the employee to work more than 8 hours, he or she has to pay overtime allowances. Second one, compulsory recognition of a trade union, employment exchange in India, state employee state insurance ESI, minimum wages for laborers, coal and mica mines provident fund. These are the important contribution of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to the laborers. With that, this human rights lesson is over. Thank you.